Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to create liveries and decals in Wreckfest 2's CrapIt editor. This is a re-recording. I tried recording this video once before already, and a number of things went wrong. So we're going to give this another try. So stick around, and I'll show you how to create these types of racing liveries in the Wreckfest 2 CrapIt editor. We're going to start with going to the motorhome, and the reason that I like to use the motorhome is because it's a large canvas for us to work on and to get our decals created on. So the first thing you do with any livery is you're going to want to start with removing all of the existing layers. And you can do that pretty easily. Down here on the bottom are your shortcuts and hotkeys. So we're going to use the remove hotkey to remove all of the existing layers. So we'll just hit C, and then I'm hitting enter here, and we'll be able to remove all these layers in pretty short fashion. And now we have a blank canvas. We'll go over to car paint, and something that's important to note is that say we've got a door that's a different color, which you'll find on a lot of the default cars. So say we've got a door that's a different color, or a trunk that's a different color, or something like that. We can still remove all of the colors with the C key. And when we remove the custom color on the door, it's going to revert back to whatever body color is. So you can select your body color first. In this case, I'm going to use a gray because it's a good color for contrast. But again, if we change the color and then remove it with C, it'll just go back to whatever the body color was. Okay, so now we have a great blank canvas with some lines so that we can line things up so that everything looks nice. We'll open up our decals, and it wants to go to the roof, but I want this side. We'll start with a bottom layer. You can see all of the groups that I already have built, all of the custom layer groups that I already have built. And like I said, we're gonna build a YouTube logo. So we'll start with just a square with some rounded corners, and you'll see I have a number of tools to adjust the shape and size of your decals. I'm going to create a little bit different YouTube logo than the one that I had before. So in this case, actually, I'm going to start with white. And you should always have a reference image open as well. So pull open Google or Firefox, whatever your web browser of choice is, and do an image search for whatever you're creating, whatever it is, whether it's a logo or anything. You should always have some sort of reference image so that you kind of have something to go off. And I can always adjust the size of this after the fact. I'm just getting a good base here. Okay. So we're just gonna go ahead and enter to finalize that layer. And then even though we have a bottom layer, we can add an additional bottom layer on top of this. And that's still going to take, it'll still land on top. So no need to worry about that. We're going to downsize this just a little bit. And I think this part over here is going to have to be shrunken in as well. But we'll get to that when we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, so we're just going to enter that. And then we're going to use these to get the curves on the around the edges for the YouTube logo. And oftentimes you're able to use the stamp feature. Let's see if we can get that closer to 90 degrees. Not really much closer, but a little bit. Oftentimes you're able to use the stamp feature, and so that's with the X key. You can stamp and then move the same exact shape that you just had to the opposite side. That way you don't have to recreate it. We want 270 here. 270.6. Is that going to be the closest I can get? Yeah. I guess not. That's the closest I can get. And you'll notice that I'm trying to line up the roundness of the square with the roundness of the other shape that I've got. So I'm just going to stamp that one, and then we can move this up here so that we can see what direction it's going. We want to rotate it back to 0 or 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 in this case. And then I'm just going to stretch it this way. All right, X to stamp, and then I'm going to move it up so that I can see where it's, or what orientation it's in, and rotate this to 170 or 180. 180.0009. Okay. So this is actually more of the shape of the play button, I'm just realizing. But that's totally fine. Because we can just right click this and delete, and then just add a top layer with a triangle. Because the YouTube logo itself, I don't think is as bulgy, you know. So we'll rotate this to 90 degrees, or 270 in this case. Pop that right in the middle, and downsize that to about there. Now we have a play button. To save a layer group, you'll want to select all of the items that are in the layer group. So if you select the top item and then hold Shift on your keyboard and select the bottom item in the layer group that you want to create, you can select all of the items in that layer group. So we're going to group that item and then save this group to the library. So now when we go to our decals, we will have our play button right here. So now we're gonna move this right over here. So now we have got our play button. I think I actually want to edit it just a touch, because that's so you can right click and then open the group to open up the group and edit it. I just want to move this over a tiny bit to center it. There we go. And then I'm going to delete the old layer before I add the new one. Save group to library. Okay. Now that we have our layer group, we can open it up and edit it. And since it's already saved to our library, we can create other versions of it. So now we're going to add our lettering. And luckily the font for YouTube's font is pretty similar to the font that we already have right here. So it should be pretty simple. And what size do we have here? It's important to check your size because you want to keep it consistent. I'm going to make it 8. You'll want to keep the letters consistent at the very least. And again, I'm going back to my reference image here every so often just to see what the logo actually looks like. Obviously I'm doing my own kind of variation of the logo. I'm not going to be able to get it perfect, but I'll get it pretty close. All right, check my reference image. It's got to be a little bit wider. And short, because it's a lowercase letter. I think I settled on 6 last night. Nope, it's got to be even smaller yet. 5.5. I think so. Okay, that's good. All right, and this one should be a little bit easier because we know what size we want, 5.5. And then we can put it there. And then hit enter and go to T. I think we were at 8 with the uppercase letters. And then you can copy this too. So if you copy, you just paste it. And I'm actually going to need to move this entire layer group so that I can see the lines again. I'll line it up with this and then use my keyboard to actually move this over so that it's in the right place. Oh man, and I hit the down arrow, so it moved to where I didn't want it. So let's move this back over and then hit enter. Now lowercase letters are a little bit trickier because Wreckfest doesn't actually have lowercase letters in their layer editor. So in this case, we're just going to use an I and shrink it down to 8 and make it a little bit more narrow. And then we'll use an O. Yeah, that looks good. We'll put that there. This can be on the top. Move to top. I'm going to use the oh, I could just copy that O. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy that O and paste it up here. And then you can just move it just like this. Now I want to move both of these, the I and the O, over just a hair. And to do that, I'm going to select both of them, right click and edit. And now I've got both of them. So I can slide them both over just a hair. And now for the E, again, since we don't have lowercase letters, we're just going to use a C. Makes that black. shrink it down so that it's, I think we have to do 5.5 or 6.5. Yeah, 5.5. Perfect. And of course I say perfect and then I screw it all up. And take this over here. And then one more layer. We will use an I to finish up that E. We're going to rotate it to, we're going to go to 90. 90 and 270 are the same. Or reverse from each other. Obviously, they're not the same number. We'll downsize that quite a bit, and then we'll make it wider. So that it matches the typeface. And there you have it. You've got a YouTube logo now. And since we already have this in the group, we can back out and save this group to our library too. So now we have a YouTube play button and a YouTube logo. One of the classic YouTube logos. So the next thing I'm going to do is, so I'm going to move this up to here. And then we're going to use elements from this logo to create the New School YouTube logo. So first we're going to start with creating a bottom layer, a white bottom layer. And I'm going to go back to my reference image here and just make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. This one's going to be a lot easier because YouTube has made their shapes a lot simpler. We're going to create the one that we started with earlier. And we're going to use the logo that we have up top to adjust the size. It's got to be a little bit bigger than, there we go, perfect. And then we will do a top layer and use just a red square because that's what it is now. They've simplified it a lot, which for our case today is a good thing. We'll extend that out just a touch. Perfect. Okay, and now we can select both of these layers and we're going to group them before we get too far into the process here. Now open the group. Or no, we didn't need to open the group. My apologies. We're going to go into the other group. We're going to open the other group that we have created. And we're going to select tube. Clicking the top sideways I, holding shift and clicking the box for the T. And then I'm going to copy it right there. The copy option, copy. We can escape, go back into the other layer that we have, open group, and then we'll just paste that here. Now you'll notice it's not in the right place, so we'll just select and select all of those items again and edit, and then we can move them over to where we need them. And we'll do the same thing with the word you. open the group, and head over, select all of the letters, copy, and open the group that we're working on and paste. Again, we're going to select all 3 of these and move them. And now we have a modern YouTube logo. So let me back out and save the group to the library. And now we have 3 new YouTube logos, as you see. Or suppose you want to edit one of your existing logos or one of your existing decals. Let's move this over here. So you can open the layer that you, or the layer group that you want to edit. So in this case, we're gonna edit the 420, the car number, and we will drag it down so that we can actually see it. You'll open up that layer group, and you can select all of the layers or the elements of the layer group that you'd like, and just edit and change the color of all of those layers all at once. So in this case, we're going to choose red, and then we'll deselect all, and then we're going to select all of these and make them white. All right. Now we'll save this layer group. Yeah, save group to library. That's the one. Perfect. All right, and the last layer group that I want to edit so that we're prepared for the next step, which is creating the actual livery on the cars, is my exploding rubber livery, or my exploding rubber decal, which this one we're going to open and do the same thing that we did with the numbers, essentially. Beautiful. And then we'll save that group to the library. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do here is we're not going to save this. I'm not going to save this one, but we will go into another car and we'll do a complete livery overhaul on the gizmo. So like I said before, we're going to want to start by removing all of the existing layers that we don't want. We're going to clear all of the colors that we don't want and set the body color to whatever the base color is. In this case, we're going to use white because that's the color that's going to go best with our YouTube logos. All right, I am going to change the grill to red, as well as the wheels to red, just because it'll go nice. I'm going to mention reference images one more time. You should use a reference image for a car that you like, whether it's a rally car or a NASCAR. I usually pull up a classic NASCAR, like a Dale Earnhardt or a Jeff Gordon car, to use as a reference. So in this case, I'm going to be referencing using Dale Earnhardt Jr. 88 car. Now, just because I'm using the Dale Earnhardt Jr. car as a reference doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make it look like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car in any way, shape, or form. All right, so we'll start with the number. Personally, I prefer numbers to be centered to the door, or depending on the car, if it's got the space up here for the rally number. In this case, I'm going to use a rally number, so I should probably find a rally car as a reference. Yeah, I pulled up a rally car image. All right, and then we'll resize this so that it fits in there. Now, rally cars don't seem to have quite as many advertisements on them, but I'm going to use a little bit more ads than what you typically find on a rally car, I think. So we'll hit enter, and that's going to put the decal right on the car. We will go, I like to use top layers when putting decals on the cars. Yeah, we'll just put it right about there. And then we'll use the exploding rubber font, which I have here. And you can see that it's white, but you can just select black, and that's going to change all of the letters to black. I'm just going to line it up with that line on the vehicle. Okay. And the obligatory good tire. We'll throw this one on. And once you have a layer group created, you can resize that layer group to whatever size you want it. So suppose I wanted a really big version of that YouTube. You can resize it to whatever you'd like. Just going to throw a bunch of liveries all over the car. All over the fender here. Throw this one on. This is one that my daughter made, a layer group that my daughter made. I have to always make sure that I put this on all of my cars. See that the Twitch logo is a little bit wonky when you put it on, but I will fix that with you right now. You just take the you just have to open the layer group and find the purple and move it to the bottom. The reason it does that is because I selected top layer for putting it onto the car. If I had selected the bottom layer to put it on the car, it wouldn't have done that. When you select to add a new layer, if I had selected bottom layer instead of top layer on that Twitch icon, it would have I wouldn't have had to change where the purple layer was. Throw on a Pokeball, and you can see that the livery is already starting to take shape. Obviously, we're only looking at one side at the moment, but we'll get to the other side in short order. I did use a reference image, but I didn't follow it exactly. That's the beauty of having a reference, though, is that you don't have to necessarily follow it exactly, and you can always do what you think looks best on your car. Okay, so now we have one side of the car almost done. One more layer group. We're gonna put this above my door. Maybe we'll put it above my door. I think it'll go better on the roof. So what I'm gonna do is rotate this. But in this case, there seems to be a crease right here that you can't put decals on. So I'm just going to rotate this one. Actually, let's see if I can get this down here. Yeah, that looks good. I'm just going to put it there and remove it from here. To navigate or to rotate, you'll use the right click and rotate to rotate on your axis, and then you use the middle click to drag back and forth. Okay, so now once we have one side done, and when we're happy with one side, we're gonna right click up on the top where the plus is, and we can hit mirror all. And that's going to put all of our decals over on the other side. We'll hover over this and it'll show all our decals on the other side. Now, don't freak out. Everything's backwards. That's what we expected. Just select the top one, shift and select the bottom one, right click and edit. Keep the current color. That's important. Otherwise, it's going to change everything to the same color, and we don't want that. So keep current color. And then down here, we see the flip option to C. You can go C and then flip horizontal. Don't flip vertical because that'll flip it upside down. Flip horizontal, and that will flip everything over so that it's facing the right direction. Notice there's a couple of things that I have to move around, but for the most part, everything will stay where you want it. Hit enter to finalize that flip, and then deselect all. And start moving around the liveries that you need to move. Like in this case, I need the YouTube decal to be moved. I need my gamer tag to be moved. And we'll put it right there on the line, just like it is on the other side. And we need the stand up livery or stand up decal to be moved. Pointless to have it there unless you can't see it, or unless you can see it rather. And then the last one that needs to be moved is good tire. The rest of them can live right where they are. Okay, now we'll make our way to the roof, where we're gonna throw on the 420 number. Some cars are, it might look like your decal's not on the car, but you can I found that the best way to figure out where the decal actually is is by making it bigger. So I'm going to make it bigger until I can start seeing the edges. And then I'll move it so that it's where I think the center might be. So in this case, the 2 is centered, and then I can resize it to the actual size that I want. So we'll resize that to there. Put our 420 right on the roof. And then I'm going to rotate my orientation and drag myself down here to add another, just to add the play button to the hood. Again, I'm going to size this up so that I can see where it is, and we'll drag it over. Notice that sometimes the orientation of your decal will turn to match the orientation of your camera. In this case, it did. So we'll put the play button there. And then I'm going to throw on a top layer and just put my gamer tag on here as well. Or my Twitch channel name. And now that I know where it is, I can bring it over. All right. There we have it. I'm just seeing a couple of things that I can do that'll be neat, and I'll take you along for those as well. Okay. Now, since we've got the top mostly done, I'll go to the front, and I want to put a little play button on the headlight. I think that'll look cool. Okay, make that a little bit bigger because I'm actually going to take off the decal portion of it and edit the group. I'm just going to take off all the red and only keep the white because I think that looks neat, personally. Okay, now let's head to the back where we have the canvas for one more YouTube logo, and we'll use this one. We have to expand the size to see where it is, and then move it down so that we're about center right there, and then downsize it. All right, open the group and remove this one. Beautiful. And add a top layer with exploding rubber here. Again, I've got to make it bigger so I can see where it is. Okay. And here we have it. We have a completed livery. We've got some decals made up for the YouTube channel. And now we've got a completed livery. If anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If you have any comments or input that you'd like to give, please feel free to give it. I'm not a professional by any means. This just gives you a good baseline so you can get started and get your cars looking in the way that you'd like them to. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.